What if I told you that you can use ChatGPT? Well, okay, not ChatGPT, but the GPT API, just like ChatGPT, to interface directly with an operating system, Mac OS, Linux, Windows, to actually control the operating system so that you can use natural language processing like Siri, Jarvis from Iron Man. Tell it what you want and have it generate and perform complex commands and tools, even if you don't know anything about the operating system, the tools, or the commands. So we're going to do what I thought was nearly impossible, using ChatGPT or GPT to control your local operating system for cybersecurity. Actually have it perform vulnerability scans, complex tasks. We're going to talk about all of that coming up next. I kind of had a bit of an epiphany and wanted to see if I can do something that I don't think has been done by anybody else before out there. At least there's no videos on it that I found. And I just thought it would be a really cool idea. So I want to preface this by saying that everything that I've learned here about using Python coding, and I'm not, this is not a sponsorship or anything like that. I'm just really impressed with what Chris at All About AI is doing. And so take a look at Chris's All About AI channel on YouTube, and let me get you that. There's the actual, his channel URL there. Go subscribe, and I'm a member. Go be a member. That's where you get all the good stuff. All right. So what I did was I actually created, I guess you could call this a command line or a terminal overlay. Okay. So I can do all my standard commands here, right? So I can clear, I can do, ls, and so I can do everything. It's a command overlay. I can do everything that I would normally do, right? So, but now if you see, it's replicating my command. I'll show you why in a minute. But now, let's say I want to do something a little more complicated, and I don't know exactly how to do that. So I can go and I can say, well, what is my Ethernet IPv4 IP address? And it actually, so the demo gods, I'm live, and there's the demo gods. It generated my request, but it didn't generate the output. And I think there's an issue with the API because that's supposed to generate output. But anyway, see the complex task it generated, but it didn't give me any output there. And I think that was a hiccup with the API itself. Because if I go, what processes are currently running? There you go. So then it gives me PSAUX is the actual command. You can see it there, and then it gives me the output here. So if I say now, okay, what is my IP address? All right, there you go. So, and notice it's given me different variations, which is actually cool. I'll talk about that in a minute, but now it gives me my exact IP addresses from interfaces. Okay, so what network interfaces do I have? There you go. I'm not having to do any of these commands. See, it gives me the actual commands. I can tell it. I mean, there's just a lot of things that you can do. Like, where is my shadow file located? Okay, and so this isn't perfect. I don't have it completely, all the code, I don't have it completely fine-tuned yet, but this is not an issue with my code, by the way, or the GPT. It just gave a command where it's not finding it exactly. So I can also tell it to, what directory is the, there we go. So it's almost perfect. So instead of actually having to generate these commands myself, I can just tell it what I want. Okay, so you know, do a TCP port scan on my local host. So notice it automatically called nmap. Didn't have to tell it what to use. Oh, and by the way, so I'm in the Kali Linux environment. I'm in the console. I'm actually, I'll go ahead and let everybody know again. I'm using Linux. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm using Windows, and I'm admitting here that I'm using Windows for Linux tasks because of my recording setup and my streaming setup. It's easier for me to use Windows. So I'm using the Windows subsystem for Linux, and I have Kali and Kali Linux installed. And so that's what I'm actually doing here. So, all right, let's get back into this now. And I don't actually have a vulnerable box set up to do to show you the output of a full port scan. We'll get into that into a future stream or a video. But I just wanted to show you how I could pretty much do anything I need to do, and I can do it instead of an inner request. I could change this up, make it a different prompt. But so let's get into this. I could even you know, what users do I have on this? And so that's not quite right. Like I said, there's some fine tuning to be here. So I can say, show me my file. Okay, show the contents of my file. That doesn't seem right. There we go. So again, having some knowledge of Linux is good, but if you have some basic knowledge, you don't have to know all the complexities. So let's just show you this real quick now. So if I open up, I have all this spitting out to a log. That's not the right one. No, actually, I'll show you that in a minute. So this is a log that I have generating. So all of the commands that I do, it looks like it didn't do everything. I might have cut it off because this will certainly, I don't think that was the last. Oh, sorry. I'm a little bit of an idiot today. Let me regenerate that log. There we go. Okay. So this is a log of all the commands that I've done with this script so far, playing around with it. As you can see, I have the request and then the command that it generated. I didn't do I didn't have it spit out the results. You can do that in another file if you want to have it spit out the results so that you can have more info. But this is great for teaching. This is great for learning, like what command sequences will generate the response that you're looking for the request that you give it. And so, as you can see, there's some pretty good, and I'm not even saying that these are the most efficient ways to do it, but it gets the job done, it gets the results done. I would, earlier when I was, what is my Ethernet IPv4 address? This is what it gave me. And it's been giving different variations, and I'll show you why in a little bit. I would not know how to do this off the top of my head. I'm not a Linux guru or administrator. I mean, I know enough, but so there's a lot of stuff here, a lot of commands that it generates. So let's get into the code. Let me show you how I did this. And again, all of the code that I have here is going to be available in, I decided not to go with the GitHub. There is a GitHub repository, but I made it private. If you want access to this, there was a link in the description where you can access all of this for free. Just sign up to our account to get access to all these videos in one repository, kind of like a mini course, and all of the code that I have here. And then there's discussions and everything like that. I just did that so everything could be in one place. So, all right, so let's look at how we did this. So here's the code. And again, this is literally just building upon what we did last week, or I'm sorry, last Wednesday. Forgot, this is a pop-in extra stream here. So we're building on what we did Wednesday. And so again, go look at that later if you need to kind of refresh, or if you haven't seen some things we did here. So One extra import that we have here is we're importing subprocess because we're actually going to use what we have here to talk directly to the operating system. These are the same, open file, save file, and I actually did one, I added another function here, a file function for append. So instead of, so R is for read, W is write, and A is append. That way we can continue to append as a log on this. We still have our API key and a text file. Nothing here changed. Now, I kind of figured that. Oh, sorry, I still have this up. Sorry about that. There you go. A lot of advertisement there for Chris and all about AI there. So, all right. The most there's actually, I can't talk today. It's a Friday. Text DaVinci 003 is the, now I guess it's still the most powerful and the most it's still the model that has the most data training, but there's now I think it's a, what is it, chat.3.5.turbo or something like that. I thought that because all I'm asking for are simple commands, simple output that are pretty precise, I thought that using maybe the Ada model or the Curie model might have worked out better, and it really didn't. And I'm still playing with this to try to figure out how to tweak it. I encourage you, if you guys mess around with it and you find that there's a model that's more accurate, let me know. We'll experiment with this here in a minute and to see if we can get it to act a little different. So, but right now I'm using Text DaVinci 003 at full creativity mode. And I even tried to take this away. I even tried to do it at 0 to just give me precise, and it really wasn't giving what I need. And I'll show you that here in a minute. We probably don't need 600 tokens because the way that we're doing this is that the output is not being tokenized. The command output is not being tokenized and sent to the GPT API. That's all local. So the only thing that we're sending is the prompt, the engineered prompt, which I'll show you here in a minute, and the command. That's all that's being sent. And then we're getting the return, and the return is only the command. So it's a very low token count. And by the way, I just want to mention that all the things I've been learning here, I've been using this version and my version of the API that I've been developing here. They're my script for the API. I've been using this more than ChatGPT now. And so ChatGPT Plus for me, I guess it's still $20 a month. I guess that's what I'm paying, is $20 a month. And I've only used 50 cents so far. I've been using this solid for the last 5 to 7 days, and I'm just barely over 50 cents of usage. And I even have my own version of the ChatGPT, or the chat bot, the full functionality of ChatGPT. That's another course that Chris at All About AI actually already did that, and that's where I learned it from. And so if you want the spoiler now, go over there and see how he did that. But I'm going to take that idea and use it here in kind of our AI prompt, or our console prompting, so that we can take just our console overlay and have a running chat so that it can actually remember what we said before to be much more efficient. So anyway, I'm doing all of that, and I still haven't spent more than, I haven't spent more than 60 cents total. So if you learn how to do this and you use this and you use different models and different prompting with scripts like this, then you'll probably come out cheaper than $20 a month. I know I am so far. So, all right, so let's get back into this. This is the same response back that we had, so stripping it out. So nothing different there. So one thing that I did add here was that I noticed that every now and then I was getting errors, and I thought it was something to do with my code. I thought the errors had to do with getting and I don't know if I can show you. I should have made should have taken a screenshot, but I'm getting errors, and I thought it was dealing with my code, but it was actually because the API was kind of crapping out. There was issues. And so I put in some exception handling here to catch the errors. And then I did have some detailed output here, but I was finding out, I mean, it was all the errors were on the server side, on the API side. They were all local errors or internal errors. So at that point, I just changed it to say error communicated with the API, and then it'll continue to retry. And what I found is after one try, two tries, no more than 3 tries, I got what I wanted. So this really helped out a lot. All right, so that's the only thing different in the actual GPT-3 prompt. Then what I did here, in order to make the text overlay, I just put it in a while loop so that it would keep on, so that I could keep it, and I could do whatever I wanted in that console. Andrew, like I said, it's literally a remade command line console that's overlaying on top of the existing terminal, and this just keeps it active. So there's my prompt. It breaks out, obviously, if there's an issue. I can also exit by giving it a quit prompt. And just like before, and I'll show you this here in a minute, we are using a prompt text. So I have a static prompt engineered to give me the results that I want. And then I am replacing that prompt with my request. And so as you can see here, I'm receiving the input as request. And so I'm inserting my request, replacing this with my request, and then it makes a full prompt and sends it out. Now, this is what's really different. Now, I would suggest, I'm not going to try to explain all of this in detail. Copy this and use ChatGPT to explain it to you. But this is setting up my process. So I'm getting back the command. So the results of the GPT-3 function that I'm sending it are being populated into the command variable. And I have it engineered to where it's literally just giving me that command string. And then that command is what I'm using to send the sub process. And I'm doing it in a shell so that it reads all the special characters and white space properly, piping it out to the standard out or STD out. And then we have a buffer size of 1, and I'm continually clearing that buffer and pushing it out to my standard out every single time it fills up and I get a new line. It clears it out that way, because what happens is when you run these scripts is it waits until it's completely done and then spits out the output. Well, if I want to use it like a command line or a console and constantly running in a loop, then I need it to give me real-time results. And that's what this does. Okay. And then finally, here, I'm spitting out the results to a log, and I'm appending that. I'm doing a append file like the function we mentioned before. I'm spitting that out to a command log with the necessary concatenization. Is that a word? Concatenization? Anyway, so I can see what the request was and then the associated command that it gave me, and then all the appropriate new line characters and stuff like that. So now let's take a look at the prompt that I engineered. So the first thing I told it was I wanted to provide me, this is the simplest one, provide me with the Linux command necessary to complete the following request. And then I insert the request here by doing a replace. Where was it? So I'm replacing that with my request that we pulled here. No, where was it? Here. I'm an idiot. All right. So, and I hope you can all see this quite well. And look, and there's, you know what? I've got a guest in chat right now who I was thinking about while I was doing this, because he's a noob at cybersecurity. And Simon, let me know if you'd like to join and give in. We'll let you take it for a test drive since you're the intro cybersecurity guy. But Simon is here with us, and let's see. I'll bring him on if he wants to. If not, it's no big deal. But so we just told it to provide us the Linux command to go with my request. Now, the real power is all this down here. There's no reason. I was on the All About AI Discord channel earlier, and someone asked me why I put this down here as opposed to on top. I think it's mainly because it was an afterthought, or maybe because I wanted to make sure that it knew that I'm talking about the following request. Boom, there's my request. Now, here's some follow-up information. I don't know if that's efficient. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but it's working. So I'm not gonna mess with it until I found out otherwise. So what you have here then is exactly how I want that feedback from the GPT API to be formatted. So I told it, assume I have all necessary apps, tools, and commands necessary to complete the request. And the reason why I said that is because I wanted to use its knowledge base, its vast knowledge base of all the things that it would give me. And if it turns out that if there's a command that it gives me and I don't have that, I will get that command not found or app not found in my tool. And then I could literally use, if you look at this, I did that earlier. That's the wrong one. Oh, this one. I ran into an issue earlier where I was finding some things out where it didn't have what I needed. So I was literally telling it to install it, and it was going out and doing these things. So all you have to do is keep this open. And when you have errors, you can use it like a command line or a terminal, and you just tell it in plain English or whatever. I mean, I'm assuming this is not limited to English. It's just whatever language you're using, because it's based off your system. So you just tell it in your plain language what you needed to do. There was another one here somewhere else where I told it to install something. I did this more than once. Either way, so, but you can just tell it to install it, and then it'll go out and install it if you don't have it. So, getting back here. So then I told it to provide me with the command only and do not generate anything further. And that's because if you use ChatGPT, you're very familiar with the fact that it likes to go astray. It likes to provide you a bunch of extra information. And so I want to make sure it's only giving me the command line. That's it and nothing further. And so that's why I also tell it here, provide me with, do not provide any explanation, so that it doesn't do anything further than the command. I said, provide the simplest form of the command possible unless I ask for special options, considerations, output, etc. Now, the reason I did that was because I was messing with it, and it was way over engineering the command. So I would ask it to do something simple like show me my files, and instead of just doing an ls, which is how you would do that in Linux, it would give me this massive over-engineered prompt. So I told it to start with the simplest first. And then it was having an issue with not giving me enough. So then I said, okay, well, if the request does require a compound command, provide all necessary operators, pipes, etc., so that it can give me that compound command as a single one-line command. And then I said, do not provide me more than one variation or more than one line, because it was actually giving me several options of that command. And so, and I'll show you that we might be able to replicate that issue here, so that it was doing that. So that's where we're at. Let's take a look at this real quick. All right, so let's exit out of here. And then go back into our code, and let's mess around with this a little bit. Let's go back to Curie. And I forgot. Here, let's go to our browser. Open. Yes, I'm using Bing, and the reason why I'm using Bing, let me just show you this. The reason why, so I'm at 61 cents usage there. You go to pricing, and pricing will show you the models somewhere. There it is. The reason I'm using Bing is because, there it is. That's what we want. No, come on. Oh, wait, there's something here. Wait. So this is the one I was talking about earlier, GPT 3.5 Turbo, but it's a little bit different setup than what we're using. And I think it was in the documentation. Where was it? Okay. So where is it? OpenAI API box. Here we go. Or was it? No, this wasn't it either. It was somewhere where it was actually showing Curie. It was the actual model breakdown. And why can't I find? You know what? The reason I can't find it is because we're actually on a live stream. And I honestly can't remember. I thought it was under pricing. Curie. I think it was like text-curie.001. I think it was. I don't remember where it was. Yeah. Let me see here. But anyway, well, this is good for you to know on the documentation, because this shows you all about the different variables that you would use and the description of the variables that you would use when you're setting up your GPT request. Because the reason I'm looking for this is because I don't remember what the ADA model is called specifically. I put in before, I put in like just ADA or just Curie without the actual specific model, and it came back all jacked up. It was giving me some pretty weird stuff. So, and it's like, I want to say, you know what? Maybe it's, here it is. All right. So let's try this. Let's look at text Curie 001. And here's the descriptions of what they do here. If you can't read that. All right. So it's very capable, faster, and lower cost than DaVinci. So that's one of the reasons why, one of the reasons why I was looking for other models. I figured they'd be more efficient and lower cost if I'm using them a lot. But I mean, still, it's like pocket change, right? I can afford this out of the change I find in my truck floorboard and couch cushions. All right. So let's try this one. And first, before I do that, let me just show you what happens if I just bring this to 0, right? So remember, the 1 is like the most creative. It's going to be the most loose with and most creative with the suggestions. When you use the full value of 1, you're most likely going to get hallucinations, AI hallucinations, and it's going to go way off track. But using 0, it's going to be more exact, more precise, right? So using DaVinci and 0, let's just see what that does. And all right, let's go back into here. And again, let's go into like, what is my internet IPv or so, I mean, not bad. It's not doing anything different. If we view our log, which I'm going to have to close this out and open it up again because it's not updating in real time. Although what's interesting, I could do this. So I could go, yeah, so, oh, there's all my clear commands. Yeah. So I think it's really cool, and I didn't know it was going to do this, that if you just type in commands that you know, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't try to explain it. It doesn't try to expand upon it. It doesn't add extra options. It literally says, oh, you want to clear. Okay, well, here's the command, clear. It's really intuitive. So I found that really interesting. But so that's kind of cool. You could just do this. So probably do a tail on the command log. You could just do, show me. You could open up two of these consoles and have one tailing it, but show me real time updates to the command log. Oh, I can't open it probably because, so it doesn't know exactly what the name of that file is. This is why I want to add in chat functionality so it can remember what I said previously. So I would actually have to go, and I don't have the history. I don't have command history by hitting the up key apparently, and I don't think I have autocomplete. Well, it wouldn't because it's natural processing, not giving it commands. So show me real time updates to the command this dash log.txt. I'll do that. Yeah, there you go. So it's using, all I did was say, show me real-time updates to the command.log.txt, and it automatically knows to use the tail command with the F switch for the file and command.log.txt. So that's really cool. Unfortunately, I don't think I can break out of here. Yeah, so basically I'd have to restart this. So there's some fine tuning we have to do with the prompt to do some general console terminal like functionality. But all right, let's see what, because before I was having problems when I actually went down to 0, I was having some problems with DaVinci 3, but that might also have been because I was having issues with the exception handling, and I hadn't put in this exception handling yet. So I don't know. We'll see. So what interface? What network interfaces do I have active? Doesn't seem to be giving me any different results, putting the creativity all the way down to 0. Use, I don't know. Do I have a web server running on my computer? No. Do a TCP scan on my local host. Interesting. I guess the creative. Let's see how. What is my IPv6? So I guess that is fine. Okay, so let's go back now. Let's change it to Curie. Do I still have that copied in my clipboard? Oh, I'm an idiot. I don't think I ever saved this. Some of you are probably yelling, you didn't save it. Okay, well, I thought I did. All right, now it's 0. Now let's try it. Or maybe I did. I don't know. What is my IPv? Or IP address? I mean, that's even cleaner than what we saw before. It's giving me straight up. What is the most resource intensive process currently? So it basically just shows me the top command. So that's pretty good. I could just go, there's no processes that I really want to kill right now. I could go stop the top process. Yeah, so it had a usage error there because it didn't actually do a grep. So again, I'm kind of, let's see, I could say, you know, here's what I'm very curious about this. Let's see, I don't have an SSH server running anywhere, but I was curious as to what it would do if I was doing things like, you know, FTP or SSH or SCP to something. But so, all right, so that seems to be pretty stable. Let's go back. Let's do Curie now. All right, let's try that with our creativity all the way at 0. All right, so now let's try this. Clear. Okay, that worked just fine. Something weird I saw flicker there. All right, what is my Ethernet IPv4 key address? So a little bit different. See, it gave me 2. Now, it didn't make a difference, but it gave me 2, the double output, and I have not figured out how to get rid of that yet. So if we look at the log, and I can't get the log to refresh naturally. So, yeah, see, it gave me a double. So that's something that's weird. So let's pump all the way to the left or right, whatever you want to, however you want to look at it. Now let's do that again. And let's just copy this exact command. And actually just load it. Let's load it up again. All right. See, that's getting creative. So with Curie, if you move it all the way to the 1 and under Curie, it starts to show you extra suggestions, even despite the fact that I prompted it not to, right? So if you look at and this is really weird how it did this, but you can also use ifconfig to display your Ethernet. So, you know, like this. So, and then it's giving me all kind of weird stuff. So that's, I'm not even know if that's a real command. So as you can see, Curie full creative mode doesn't work that well. Curie in whatever they call it, the straightforward, the 0, without the leeway of the creativity, it gives you double results. So I would encourage you to play around with this. Let's go back to the Text DaVinci. It actually, I didn't see a difference between the 0 and 1 under the temperature. So let's reload it. Yeah, and there's also something weird with Text DaVinci. When I type clear, it does the command as the straight command. Under Curie, it was give me some kind of flicker. It was something weird going on. So let's just go ahead and, oh, that's wrong. What did I do here? Okay, what is Ethernet? Yeah, and now we're back to 0. We're using 0, and Text DaVinci 003 like we did before. But if you look at the log here, just re-up this log here. So it's giving me, oh, what happened there? If you are unsure of what Linux command is, please consult. Why did it do that? Is that the most recent thing? Oh, yeah, it sure did. Now it's giving me these weird things. If you were unsure, where that's the first time I've got that in a while. But I told it not to give me any of that, but it's still doing it. So let's, okay. What network interfaces currently, I don't know, have traffic? Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Oops. I messed up my password. Did I crap it out again? Oh, I'm using the wrong password. Go. What was that? What did I tell it to do? It gave me, yeah. So it gave me 2, didn't it? It's giving me 2 again. Let's try it one more time. I don't know. What subnet am I currently on? Interesting. IP config. That's not even a Linux. That's Windows, right? IP config. Yeah, it's messing everything up. All right. So let's go back to that. All right. And that's really interesting. Okay. More time. Okay. What happened? Oh, is that what happened? Am I screwing up the model? Text DaVinci -003. Temperature. Did I just screw up the model? Is that the problem? Did I get that wrong? Oh, DaVinci. Yeah, I was screwing up the model. Why didn't you guys tell me? Right. That's what was happening. All right, let's go back to, I don't know what. Okay. Now, we'll start over. All right. All right, now, what subnet am I currently on? Yeah, see, now it's working right. I don't know. What are my current network routes? We go. So I don't know. I think just DaVinci works, and I guess 0 is pretty precise. I would just play around with it if you're into this. But as you can tell, you know, I can just do regular commands. Works fine. So it gives you, it acts like a command line, but then you can just tell it, make a new directory here called test. And there you go. Delete the test directory. Oh, anyway, there you go. It's kind of cool. I mean, I was just thoroughly impressed with how this works, how well it works. And that's kind of it. I mean, that's what I had set out to do for this stream. I probably ran a little longer than I actually wanted to, but I wanted to really like kind of show you this epiphany idea that I had on seeing if I can get GPT to interface with the underlying operating system. I've tested this on Windows, 2 different flavors of Linux and Mac OS, and it works the same because it runs off Python, and the subprocess library it's compatible with all those different operating systems, and so it's a pretty universal script. And you'll see here, go back here, I have like 60 lines of code total, and feel free to use this. Use it however you want. If you would be so kind as to say here, just give me a shout out for the inspiration, because although I did use everything I learned from Chris over at All About AI, this was kind of my own epiphany. I'm kind of proud of it. So it was fun, really kind of thinking about how to do this and how could I get this to work, and stayed up way too late working on it. And you would think that, wow, it's only 60 lines of code, but I'm not a master of Python. And, so it did take me a while to figure out and get working properly, to engineer the prompt correctly so that GPT would only give me exactly what I needed to insert the command properly to use it as a natural language kind of command generator. And it seems to be working pretty good, pretty stable. And so we'll expand upon this more in the future. I'll add the chat session functionality so it could remember what I've been telling it. And that in itself would add a whole lot more functionality than what you would even do in a regular command line terminal with Kali Linux or any terminal from any operating system, because it doesn't remember what you told it. So using GPT, it would actually remember what you told it previously. So then the next thing I want to do is if you go to Chris's channel, the All About AI channel, and he actually shows you how to use Whisper and voice processing so that you can just talk to it and it will actually talk back to you with a voice. Now, we don't want it to talk back to us using a voice, because that would really mess things up when it's giving you all this output, all the command output. But I want it to be able to recognize my voice and translate that. So I could literally just sit here and talk to it and tell it, hey, show me my files, crack this password, whatever, and it'll just do it. That would be really cool. So giving it full chat functionality, and then also the ability to listen to my voice and just have it work based off of my voice, that would be really cool. So that's going to be some of the next steps. And then also some of the other things that I want to do is give it some kind of what's the word for it? Thought engineering or decision making, and kind of let it see if I can have GPT make its own decisions on how, what it should do. Basically, see if I can automate the entire process of, scan this network, give me all the systems that are running this particular service, spit it out to a file, then use that file to do a vulnerability scan, and then run Metasploit to do this. I would see if I can get it to do everything, or just kind of turn GPT into like an auto penetration testing tool to where it can make all the decisions on its own. It can do these things on its own with its own thought. So that'd be kind of cool. And then, of course, shameless plug here, if I can use the whole reason why I started building all of this and learning is because I want to use the GPT functionalities in our product, the ThreatGEN Red versus Blue. And it would be really cool if I can train it and then use native code from the game to speak with the API, and then use this to play the game somehow, or be an in-game advisor or that kind of stuff. So anyway, I have all these delusions of grandeur that I want to work on. So listen, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching this, or you're watching it on record. And do me a favor, if you've got value out of this, if you found it fun, whatever, give me a like. And if you want to find more of these videos, you want to watch more of these, hit subscribe. So on that note, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.